I am delighted to welcome the Honorable Dr. Yusef Salaam of City Council District 9. He is a poet, an activist, an inspirational speaker, and I had the pleasure of meeting him during the pandemic with the release of his book, Better Not Bitter. And we are just happy to have him here today. He may read a poem or two and just share with you his support of the arts and the work that we're doing in this field. So please, let's give him a round of applause. Do you want to leave this here, or you can move it if you...
You gonna stand up? They said Yusef Salaam. You're Yusef Salaam? I'm Yusef Salaam. This is my wife and I, we share 10 children. Yes. And some people were saying, God bless you. That's why only a few people clapped. But other people said, man, God bless you. Woo. And we have three boys in our family and 7 girls. And this is my first biological son, who happens to be named Yusef Salaam as well. He was born on my birthday, so it's now his birthday, featuring me. So, arts education is really something that it touches really deep with me. It touches deep because if you know my story, you know that I used to go to LaGuardia High School of Music and Art. I actually was a graphic designer. I was never taught how to draw, but it is part of the fabric of who I am. As a matter of fact, the ring that many people see me wearing is a ring that I designed, created, and put out there in the world. Because as we were known as the Central Park Five, it was a very ugly story. It was a story where we were the poster children of deviance. And being kidnapped from society at such a young age, I was 15 years old. And I was placed in what many know as the belly of the beast. Well, while I was in there, I learned very, very secret ways to escape. And one of the ways that really was powerful for me was not just meditation, but meditating with my eyes open. What I mean by that is, as an artist, as a person who loved to draw, who loved to create, and was in school for that, I utilized that same tool to escape the prison that held me in bondage. I found out that if you can't see it, you can't be it. And so art for me was something that I started to utilize as a tool that really, really allowed me the most profound escapes. I was a person that could recreate anything. One of my go-tos that I love to draw was the old Budweiser photos that featured African kings and queens. And I still have these art pieces in my home. So this design here that I decided to draw in regards to Central Park Five, I didn't want it to be a new creation. I didn't want to call us the Exonerated Five, completely erasing the whole history of what people knew we were and what we had grown through. And so I decided to pretty up, to make beautiful, as a person named Talib Kweli would say, the beautiful struggle. And in artistic fashion, I created a new C, a new P, and a new 5. And then right underneath it, I put Exonerated 5 as a stamp of what this beautiful struggle has become. While I was in prison, many people don't know this, but I also wanted to be a hip-hop artist when I was younger. I actually went to ASCAP Records, that was right up the block from LaGuardia High School at the time. I don't know if it's still there, but I went to ASCAP Records, and back then I picked up what was a rap application. They actually had applications to become a rapper. I took this application home, read it over a few times, and I got cold feet. I was so nervous at sharing my gift with the world that I never revealed it to anyone, except when I was charged and then convicted in a court of law. And at that moment, when they told me that I would be able to say something, I didn't know what to say. I had the skeleton of the thoughts that I wanted to share, this injustice, this thing that I called I was innocent. And when they said, Yusef Salaam, do you have anything to say before we sentence you? I said, yes. They said, well, please stand and address the court. I stood up and I said, I'm not going to sit here at your table and watch you eat and call myself dinner. Sitting here at your table doesn't make me dinner, just like being here in America hasn't made me an American. Let us begin. Stress is the anger that is built up inside. Rage is the anger that is no longer built. Taking on a sucker that soon you have killed. American free will doesn't mean you can kill. And take another person's life, you live your life trife. I'm a skill builder, sowing skills I do build. Creator giving knowledge to this wise black man, soon to enhance my words across the land. I'm a smooth type of fellow, cool, calm, and mellow. I'm kind of laid back, but now I'm speaking so that you know. Got used and abused and even was put on the news without clues. Some gave clues, selling out like fools. Now check it. Who did what and who did who in? Put in a situation that you don't know what to do in. Some brothers go wildin', we're not down with them. Who would have thought I'd have to lock in? I stand accused. Checking the scene from how the situation was. Instead of getting facts, the media made you blurred. Now the people don't know. All they see is the media. Never hear the blame because they're constantly deceiving us. The DA's wrong. This is her master plan. This case is not a case, it's just a crafted sham. Yo, instead of trying to get your name made, it's reconstructing the crime that really pays. Islam, la ilaha illallah, being supreme over Satan, but no man is Allah. Yes, I'm a science dropper on the righteous path, so how the hell could I take a rapist path? Think about that and then think about this. All my friends, it was me they dissed, they're dismissed. Because I don't really need any friends like that. Like when I really needed you, where were you at? I'm not dissing them all, but the ones that I called that went and dissed me, like I was an inch small, like a rat, a mouse, not even a man, wrongly accused, like the knife's in my hand. How does it look? Me clock, now I'm shook, but like Matlock, soon the accused gets off the hook. It's real when she remembers and says, damn, the cops did you in. I stand accused. You people stop. This racial disperse. Hey, yo, you seen that kid Benson? He's in a hearse. And so we take it to the Benson hearse fields, where it's a bulletproof vest. We had no kinds of shields. How does it look? They killed a black man being black. It's time we take a stand. In our situation, they saw our faces clear, but not mine. Not because of fear. It's because the black race was disgraced, and for the Muslim, they must have felt shame. But I'm not to blame with the words you bought. The media took our words to paper, the ones the cops distorted. I told the cops truth like this, and then boom, they were smacking my man Corey Wise in the next room. Now I know why the rosters can't stand the Babylon. They never helped, they just babble on. I used to think the people and cops were cool, but who protects us from you? I stand accused. So I'm gonna wrap. Oh, no pun intended. I'm gonna wrap up by saying this. I found out that the secret was going and getting education while I was still in the belly of the beast. For me, doing that, it became the womb of America. I love education, so much so, and especially when it has the sparks of light and life in it that add to the tapestry of that education. And that can only be found in art. When I was in prison, there was a education that we experienced where we were able to take the desires that we had to write rap songs and to create beautiful poetry. And one day, while I was walking in the halls of Clinton Dannemora, a poem came to me. This poem has never been edited. I felt the overwhelming need to write. And I asked someone to give me a napkin. And while I was in the mess hall in Clinton Dannemora, I wrote down the words, "I'll meet you in between Venus and Mars." This was after years of honing my skills as a poet, wanting to beautify the world with my words. And I started off, in between Venus and Mars is the center of our attraction. Of those connected to the stars, hardly a fraction. It behooves man to work for the day when this will all end. Life is mortal, so follow the ways of those heaven sent. Awaken and receive that which will give you life, or remain horizontal and never begin the flight. For the solution, I'll descend from amongst the stars, and I'll meet you in between Venus and Mars. Art is where it's at. We got to have more of it. We got to make sure we focus on it. And last but not least, because our children deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, council member. Let's give another round of applause. We have so much respect for you. Now, I have the pleasure of introducing Stephanie Pacheco, the 2023 New York City and Inaugural New York State Poet Laureate, who was just named the Youth Poet Laureate of the United States. Stephanie's from the Bronx. Yes, she is. I had the privilege of hearing her not long ago, and she is dynamic and powerful and tremendous, and you're going to love her. So let's welcome Stephanie.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. It is my honor to join you all here as your newly, and I mean, it's been less than a week, titled National Youth Poet Laureate of the United States. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. It is an honor, an absolute honor to be here. Thank you so much, Councilmember Dr. Yusef Salaam. This is just such a beautiful event, and I'm so delighted to be here with you all. I thank you for warming up this stage. It's real toasty up here now. Thank you. And for inviting into the conversation the practice of using art as resistance, using art as a tool for calling liberation into the present. And I am so honored to be in the legacy of other Black writers like you, Dr. Salaam, that use poetry and use art and use language for exactly that. So I have two poems here for you all today. The first of which is a very special type of poem. It's what's called a blackout poem. So blackout poems are this form of poetry that create a story using a select few words out of a larger body of text. So you can create a blackout poem using anything, using a page of a history textbook, of a magazine, of a newsletter, anything. In my case, I decided that I wanted to write a story that painted a picture of the way that I actively perceive New York City right now, and the way that I view this city through the lens of someone who is from the Bronx, who grew up in Uptown, and who experiences this city from a very specific perspective. So the two articles that I crafted this blackout poem using, the first one of which covers Eric Adams and his recent comments on immigration in the city. And the second one covers the increased NYPD budget. And it juxtaposes those two stories. So this is New York City in two parts. Part one, The New Yorker on Eric Adams' thoughts on migrants. Eric Adams told people that migrants will destroy New York City. It will cost $12 billion to house the migrants. But we have been taking in immigrants for centuries. Immigrants are the country, the city, the state. That's mostly because of the magic of free immigration. People come, there are ladders of society. Part two, NYCOU on the NYPD police budget. $11 billion for the NYPD doesn't get us accountability. Police either dismiss or change recommendations from civilians. In order for any of us to thrive, we have to be safe. There are more effective ways to promote public safety that don't involve violence and eviction. We have to break out of police. We must reimagine a truly thriving city. Thank you. All right. Thank you. So that's a bit of a fun, poetic form. I invite you all to play around with poetry and how you can use it to tell your own story and to quite actually take a narrative and rewrite it. And on the topic of rewriting narratives, this final poem that I have to share with you all is very near and dear to my heart. I wrote it last year, and it is an ode to the neighborhood that I grew up in. It's an ode to the Bronx. It's an ode to Harlem, where I went to school. It's an ode to the cultures that I've been around, that have embraced me, that have loved me and taken care of me, and that have made me the poet that I am today. Yeah, let's just get into the poem. Let's get into the poem. If someone were to ask me where I'm from, this would be my official response. Field trips called for a walk to the bodega the morning of. Demanded a bacon, egg, and cheese of my $5. Said, we gon' eat before we go. To the Bronx Zoo. Always on the D train. Always on Wednesdays. Always free entry. The train was the hood kids' magic vessel into Wonderland. We made steel poles our magic forest, wished upon the stars of its lights, and tapped our feet to the sound of the underground roar. We say, the most Bronx trip you could attend was the Bronx Zoo. Was the one that was cheapest for the school budget. Was the one that all of our mommies could afford. Was the other place where caged beings live. Say, the mark of nativity is watching other things in capture, is being a witness to the cage, is celebrating the fact that at least we voyage together. Say, we dream of home too. I say I'm from New York, and I mean, I've been going to the same braiding shop on Fordham since I was 11. I found the rhythm of fingers twirling my hair into soil and blossom and named it my favorite beat. I say I'm from New York, and I mean, I recite Hey Ma by Cameron and Dile al Amor by Aventura in my sleep. I mean, I dream of song. These be the gospel tunes that made block aunties and tias jump up in praise. I mean, La Pompa was our baptism, and these streets are my church. I say, I began to count the pigeons, how they became holy in my chest too. You black-winged angel, you remind us all of flight. I mean, we dance to anything. The no music clap applies to all situations. It fills the void of disremembering. I say light feet, and we stomp hard, and we don't stay still. I say I'm from New York, and I mean my high school didn't have a gym or an auditorium or a first week ritual that didn't involve a memorial. I mean, they keep trying to shut down my library to build a precinct in its place. I mean, I learned my poverty by learning other people's wealth. I say underfunded. I say we hungry. I say I am song. I say concrete palace. I say my mother built this. I say our people are buried here, so it must be ours. I say we hold these bodies like the ground does, and I mean, I'm gonna make it home, mama. I mean, this city won't swallow me. I mean, this country can't pick me from its teeth. I mean, gentrifiers better make room for us. I mean, we gon' eat before we go. I mean, we coming. I mean, we here. I mean, if these city lights are my stars, then I'm not too far from them at all. I mean, if the pigeons can fly, then I can too. I say we black and brown and poor and trans and queer, we're eternal. We build, so we burn. It is cultural practice to refuse to die. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. That was so sweet. Thank you.